So the materials needed are a developer and a powdered bleach, along with a booster if you would like. I'm using the Prism Lights bleach in the Salon Care 30 volume. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding 1 scoop of the powdered bleach to 2 parts of the cream developer. Since we are going to be adding a booster that is kind of like a dupe for Olaplex, you might want to increase your volume developer up 10, so if you're normally using 20, bump it up to 30. So give it a quick mix before we add our booster. So this is what I'm using. There's some instructions on the package on how you want to do this, but just add the amount of the vial to however much of the bleach mixture that you have. You want the mixture to not be super runny so it drips and gets spots on your hair, but you do want it to be thick enough to stay in the formation that you painted on. So this is what her hair looks like before. She had some previous highlights which are kind of a chocolate brown color. So I'm going to start off by sectioning her hair. This is how I like to do it. I like to use a mixture of clips and hair ties. So I'm leaving about an inch segment at the... So to start this off, I'm going to grab a section of hair and hold it pretty tightly. I'm going to get a decent amount of the dye onto my brush, and I'm going to begin making kind of a V formation. You want to blend it upward really well. The more blended it is, the better that it's going to look, and it's not going to look streaky or just like highlights in general. So I started on the left side, but then I continued on to the right to make this V shape. At the bottom, you really want to just saturate it and continue to blend it as much as you want. You're going to continue to do this to the rest of the sections. You can see that since she already had highlights, I'm kind of just following the pattern of what she already has, and ones that are lighter than the others, I'm going to avoid dyeing those even more because then they just won't match the rest of the pieces. So I'm going to continue to take these pieces and keep going with it. Some other things that you can do is you can take little sections of it and pretty much make almost like baby lights, just little highlights to go throughout that's going to make it look even more blended, and rather than just like a dip dye. So here's another shot of how I did it. You really just want to make it as blended as possible, and holding it tight is going to ensure that all the pieces are coated evenly and that it's not going to be splotchy and pieces are not going to be missed. So how I like to section the hair is I have her tip her head forward, and then I just drag my finger around to get the new section of hair, and I lay it flat on top of the other pieces. You're pretty much going to just continue this step over and over again, and then go through it and see if there's any pieces that you missed or anything that looks uneven, or if you just want to add something that goes a little bit higher. The under sections more close to the neck, I don't bring up quite as high because that's just the look that I like to go for. But as you can see, this is what it looks like, and as I worked up, I brought them higher and brought more highlights. You can see I also exaggerated that kind of V shape to add to the look. And once we get more near the front, I kind of made it more saturated and added more highlights to kind of add a little bit of face framing and just to add more depth and a little bit more, highlight to her face in general. So this is what it looks like. After this, we went ahead and washed out the bleach, and we add the step 2 of the dupe of the Olaplex and wrapped it up in a plastic bag for 10 minutes. So I pretty much just wrapped it up and added a clip. You can see you're really supposed to just keep it in the shower and just wash it out afterward, but we like to take it out. I think that you can ensure that you're getting all the pieces saturated better and that the water isn't really interfering with it quite as much. This really helped to keep the integrity of the hair nice. So this is what it looks like before toning and after blow drying. You can see it's blended pretty nice, but it is very brassy. So what we did here is I used the punky color in the color violet, and I added a small little dollop, you really don't need very much, to a bit of conditioner in my mixing bowl, and I mixed it up. I added a little bit more, and I toned her hair by just adding it to any of the bleach sections for the purple to cancel out any of those yellowy orange undertones. And this is the final product on how you do it on someone else. I think that this looks really good. She was very happy with it, and I really like how it's not too ashy. It's very wearable, but it's not brassy in any way. So now this is how I am going to do my hair. Don't mind the really ugly faces I made during this video. They're definitely pretty bad. So what I'm doing here is I bought a bleach kit, which I really don't recommend. I recommend using a bleach powder. It just works out a lot better. But I was actually doing a video on how to do this, and I wanted to test it out, see if it was worth it or not, and I ended up not posting the video. So here's just a clip on how I did it. I pretty much just took the bottle and I squeezed it to the ends of my hair, and then you saw before that I just took my brush and just ran it going up into my hair to blend it out. Since my hair is pretty short in this clip, I didn't have to do too much blending, since my hair is natural texture and a little bit of the layers I had kind of just compensated for that. So I just blended it upwards, and what you're gonna see later on took a couple bleaching. It wasn't just like a one and done type deal, but I just blended it up. I ended up taking it out of the bottle and just put it in a dish and scooping it on that way. That worked a lot better. Some other tips for face framing is just to part your hair how you would. Take the pieces that you want and kind of just brush it on. It's a lot easier to do that than trying to blindly just take pieces and do it. You just want to look at it, see how your hair is parted, and you should be all good. This is what it looks like. It wasn't blended very well, but I ended up adding more highlights in the end because, again, it took a couple. So I just got out of the shower and my hair feels really good. It feels so much healthier than normal, and I know that it's kind of just like a deep conditioner and it will go back to feeling terrible in a few days, but for right now it feels really good. So this is what it looks like after that original bleach. I was very happy that it actually lifted, and I don't know, I liked the way that it looked. I'm kind of still surprised that I ended up going way lighter, more to a blonde rather than this, but I was very happy with this, and that's kind of just the color that I achieved. So here are some final photos. This was before toning it, but once my hair grew out a tad bit, and this was after a couple months and my hair being toned with some titanium silver dye.